Welcome to Trivia Tangents, the podcast where we turn everyday passions into surprising trivia deep dives. I'm your host, Lena, and each week I quiz a friend on something they know way too much about, turning everyday passions into trivia gold. We all know that on trivia night, the bigger the team, the better you'll play. So that's why I bring the team together here on Trivia Tangents. Today's guest is Nikki, who's here to talk about pickleball. So get ready for some fun facts you'll definitely want for your next trivia night. Hi, Nikki. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Lena. Thanks so much for having me. Happy to be here, and congrats on your launch.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. And I'm so happy I picked you as my very first guest. It just made sense. I mean, we were that trivia team that I mentioned that won.
Iconic, right? I know.
Yeah.
I had never won trivia before, so it was pretty kismet that we were together, and look at this empire you've built since then.
Oh my gosh. Yes, me and my 13 listeners, thank you.
Oh yeah, about to be many more, I'm sure.
I hope so. So yeah, I just thought it was so fitting that you were my first guest. You're so easy to talk to. You have so many interesting hobbies, and I'm so excited to learn more about pickleball. So
Yes.
Let me just give the listeners a little bit of a background on you, if that's okay.
Perfect.
So you're a pickleball enthusiast, you're a singer, food lover, fellow Swiftie, and my very good friend for 4 years now.
Yes, that's all correct, and I love my hobby, so excited to talk about pickleball today, and we'll see where the
Yeah.
rest of the conversation goes.
I know, we have a lot of fun things to dive into today. Just a little bit more background on, how we met. So we, first and foremost, were coworkers. We won't say the company, but we are still at the same company to this day, just different teams. And Nikki goes into the office much more than I do. And so every once in a blue moon, when I go into the office, there's always a little goodie on my desk. So thanks,
Aw.
Nikki.
Yes, always thinking of you, even if you aren't in the office.
Yeah, thanks. Well, today we are talking pickleball. Everything about pickleball. Nikki is, of course, a pickleball enthusiast and is the best player that I know. She's basically a pro. She has the gear, she has the skills, and now we put her to the test to see if she really knows the history of where it all began.
Ooh, I'm excited. Let's
Yeah.
see.
So we have 3 sections today. 1, the birth of pickleball. 2, pickleball's rapid rise. And 3, from plastic paddle to pro sport.
I love the titles.
Are you ready for question 1?
Let's dink and drink some water, of course.
Yeah, water break. Question 1 in section 1, the birth of pickleball. Trivia question 1. And by the way, these are multiple choice, so you can just pick A, B, C, or D.
Great.
All right, trivia question 1. Who are the inventors of pickleball, and when did they come up with it? A, Roger Federer and his coach in 1990. B, Joel Pritchard, Bill Bell, and Barney McCallum in 1965. C, the U.S. Olympic Committee in 2001. Or D, Venus and Serena Williams in 2015.
You know, that is a great question, but I do know the answer, Lena, and that's going to be option B.
Yeah!
1965. You got it. You got to know your beginnings. A lot of people thought pickleball started late 2000s because with COVID, and we'll talk about that later, it boomed quite a bit. But no, humble beginnings in 1965 in Bainbridge, Washington. I did know that.
Dude, you are a trivia pro. You guys, she didn't see this question beforehand.
I promise it. No.
No.
She just obsessed with the sport.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, so Nikki could basically say this section herself, but basically, mini deep dive here. Pickleball was invented in 1965 by 3 dads, Joel, Bill, and Barney. You're right, Nikki. They were on Bainbridge Island in Washington. And basically, they were trying to come up with a game to keep their kids entertained during the summer. I feel like a lot of parents can relate to that. School's out,
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know what to do with the kids. So the story goes that they improvised using ping pong paddles, a perforated plastic ball, like a wiffle ball,
Nope.
and a badminton court. And then I also want to share the name origins, but I want to take a second because do you know the name origins?
There's a lot of controversy around this, and
Yeah.
depending on who you talk to, they might have a different interpretation. I have my own. I'm curious to hear what you say, but it's typically it's is it the dog named Pickle,
Yeah.
or is it something else? So, do you want to take
Yeah.
it away?
Sure. So you're right. There's two different opinions here. The origins are pretty interesting. So it's often attributed, pickleball, that is, pickleball, the name is often attributed to the Pritchard family dog named Pickles. What a cute name. And he or she would chase after the balls. But some people say that it was actually named after a pickle boat in crew racing, which is kind of like a mishmash of rowers,
Hmm.
kind of like how the game pickleball is a mishmash of like ping pong and tennis.
Absolutely. Um, I, the story with the dog does sound nice. Our family dog's right next to us, and that's so sweet. But I did look up once that the dog came after the sport was created. So either way, it's inspired, a huge new generation of sports fanatics, and I can't wait to talk to you more about it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's good to know the history of where your favorite thing came from.
Yeah, oh, well, I'd like to think it came from the dog, but I mean, you make a good point. If the dog came after,
Yeah.
it was
We'll let
probably
the
about,
viewers choose.
yeah, hey, maybe that can be the poll. We can do
Yeah,
polls.
love it.
And then for those who don't know anything about like competitive rowing, just to give you a little bit of a background,
Mm.
the pickle boat refers to a crew composed of leftover rowers who didn't necessarily make it onto the varsity team. So it's essentially like a throw together crew, often composed of the rowers that don't specialize in a particular position or are just less experienced. The boats don't usually win races, but are still entered to give the rowers an opportunity to compete, maybe for a participation medal. But, anyways, back to pickleball here. So, Nikki, I'd love to learn more about you and your personal journey with pickleball. Could you tell me when you started playing pickleball and how did you learn about it initially?
Yeah, I would love to. The first introduction I had was actually in high school. I went to school actually near Lena in the Bay Area for high school. And I think in ninth or 10th grade, it was just a unit, maybe middle school. But either way, it was part of the PE curriculum and didn't think too much of it. I was focused on some other sports dreams of mine. So that was the first introduction. So, I'm an avid sports fanatic and I played a lot of sports growing up. So naturally, and I think a lot of us felt this way, went a little stir crazy during COVID. I also love being around folks. So that team camaraderie I was really missing. And my parents had been in touch with my grandma who lives in Florida, and she's played as close to professional tennis as you can get. And, things are slowing down. So she and her community out in Florida were learning pickleball, taught that to my parents, and we played out front in our front yard for the first time in 2020. And from there, it just catapulted my love and admiration for the sport. We can talk about it later, but there's so many ways to get involved. And one of my
Yeah.
favorites is through open play pickleball.
Mhm.
So during a lot of COVID, you just go to the local parks and put your paddle down and jump in. And that was kind of how things took off.
Yeah, I love that. I also got kind of into it during COVID, but not as much as you did, obviously.
There's still time
Um,
for you.
yes, there's always more time for pickleball.
Yes.
So, could you explain the simplicity of the game? Is it an easy learning curve? Do you need to know how to play tennis first? How does that work?
Really good question, Lena. I would say the physicality of it all is pretty easy to learn. And I think that's contributed to why it's taken off as such a fun loving and fastest growing sport in America over the past couple years. Um, However, while it's easier to learn the physicality of it, the scoring is what trips up a lot of people and some of the rules. You may have heard pickleball and the kitchen, kind of those two terms together. And that just refers to kind of a non-volley zone right next to the net. So there's just a couple little quirks that make it, a bit easier to level the playing field for so many people, but that trips up people the most. So I would say easier to pick up the moves, but harder to learn how to keep score and all the rules. Yeah.
Totally. So it would definitely help to have some sort of scorekeeper, umpire situation.
Or at least someone, who's experienced, who can help with the score. Or, you just got to start somewhere. So as long as you can get a good rally back and forth, focus on those mechanics, and the scoring and the competitive play can come later.
Love it. So speaking of the rules here, would you say that the rules are a little bit more complicated than tennis, or is it the other way around?
Yeah, I would say the rules are a little bit more complicated than tennis. I mean, I played a little bit of tennis growing up. My entire mom's side of the family, played in college and played competitively. I think why there are some stricter rules or just more unique rules in pickleball is to level the playing field. I mean, if you could just Hulk smash all day, that's not fun. We want to make sure that there's rallies, it's competitive play, no matter who you're playing with. And I think that's why I love the game so much, is because it's so intergenerational and there's so many different levels of play, but you could all be on the court. My grandma's been on the court with me, my mom, myself, and we can all have a competitive game. And if they didn't have these rules in place, again, people can just be Hulk smashing, at the net and make games go quick. So it's a way to make sure we have really fun, engaging games.
Totally. And more inclusive. And anyone can play, really.
And 100%.
That's probably one of the reasons why it, became so big within the last few years. But there is one state in particular that is considered the pickleball capital. So that actually leads us into question 2.
All right.
Section 2.
Let's do it.
Section 2, pickleball's rapid rise. Are you ready for question 2?
All right, bring it on, Lena. Let's see how we do.
Okay. Which state is considered the pickleball capital of the world today? Oh, I can give you multiple choice if you want, but if you don't want, that's totally fine too.
I jumped ahead of you. I was going to say it's not California as much as I would love for it to be, but I'd love to hear the other answers. Let's hear what we got.
Good to know that you crossed that one off the list. Method of elimination, right, for multiple choice. So here are your options for which state is considered the pickleball capital of the world today. A, Texas, B, California, C, Florida, or D, New York.
Oh, what a great question. We got all the coasts, we got in the middle of the country. So I don't think it's California. I mean, I know in Orange County, there's a huge haven there and there's a lot of tournaments. But as big as California is, it's really, I think a lot of the southern states have just really embraced it. I'm going to say Florida based on my grandma.
You're right.
Woo!
Yay! And you'll hear in the episode, I put in these awesome sort of sound effects. So 2 for 2, cute. Nikki. 2 for 2.
Awesome.
I'm so excited
Making
for
me
you.
Feel really good.
Yeah, when you mentioned your grandma taught you pickleball and she's from Florida, I was like, oh, she's definitely gonna get question 2 right.
I love it. I mean, the weather's great year round. This pickleball can be played indoor and outdoor, and I think the weather's pretty consistent. Got the spectrum of ages from Miami to retirement age, so makes sense.
Yeah. So let me tell you a little bit more about that, or explain to our listeners, because you already know. But so the answer is Florida, specifically Naples, Florida. Naples has become a hub for pickleball, hosting the U.S. Open Pickleball Championships annually at East Naples Community Park. Florida's sunny climate and vibrant retirement communities have played a huge role in pickleball's growth, aka Nikki's grandmother, shout out. But it's not just retirees anymore. Pickleball's popularity is surging with the younger generations too. Exhibit A, Nikki. According to the Sports and Fitness Industry Association, pickleball was the fastest growing sport in America in 2023, with over 8 million players in the US alone. So we kind of touched on this earlier, but in my opinion, the rapid rise of pickleball is due to two reasons: the pandemic effect and also celebrity and pro attention. So pandemic, obviously, we had to be outdoors to socialize with people, so this was a safe and healthy activity at the time. And, during COVID, people were obviously craving social connection and movement. So, Nikki was explaining how her family played a lot during COVID as well. And then secondly, celebrity and pro attention. So we did see big names like Leonardo DiCaprio, Kim Kardashian, and even Bill Gates have been spotted playing pickleball. Also, while professional tours and televised matches have added to the hype. So, Nikki, in your opinion, what do you think was the most prevalent reason for its rapid rise?
Really great question, Lena, and I think your responses are right on the nose, especially with my own experience. I think we were really isolated in COVID. So to have an activity that's one, outdoors, so we can be COVID conscious and safe, but also experience nature and not be confined, that's one. I think also because we're isolated, we forgot what it's like to be around people and have camaraderie, even if we're not high-fiving people on the courts. And I remember there was a time during COVID, I couldn't play with a doubles partner. The only way you could play, even outside, was singles, which
Wow.
I did go on quite a few first dates, and that worked out well in terms of, one person on one side of the court and one on the other.
Love
Their
that.
skills, not as, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so, being able to connect with people and remember your neighbors, remember people in the community. Everyone you meet doesn't have to be a potential partner or new best friend. Like, there's something to be said about these more ephemeral, just like momentary encounters that really build up what being a human's all about. And I don't know, sorry, tennis, but I don't know if tennis has that same type of nature. Maybe it will, or it does in certain communities, but pickleball, it's so special for that reason. I also think because of how easy it is to learn, again, maybe not the scoring, but learn the mechanics of it, you can get good pretty quickly, especially for someone who's been an athlete before. I actually played a lot of volleyball growing up and found so many similarities of how you move across the court. So,
Really?
I think it's nice to be good at something. So when you demonstrate that you're good at something, you kind of get addicted to it and want to play more. So many other things, like I said earlier, because it's intergenerational, you can be having competitive games with people of all levels and all ages. So there's kind of endless matches. So I think those are some of the big reasons. I also love that you brought up the celebrity endorsements. Pickleball is a craze not just in my life, but in my family and extended family's life here in California. And my uncle actually just got involved in this new MLP style tournament called Celebrity Pickleball Bash. Really cool. They're going on tour throughout the US and they started in San Francisco. But Lena, it's kind of like Dancing with the Stars, but with pro celeb athletes paired with pro pickleballers, and they'll play against each other. How cool is that?
Oh my God, how entertaining. I
It's
definitely need to
called
watch that.
Pickletainment. That's the whole thing they're going for.
Pickletainment. That's so funny. That's like what I
Yeah,
did with education and entertainment, the
exactly.
edutainment podcast. I love that.
Love it. So it's,
Um,
bringing it, even if you aren't playing, people will watch tennis or boxing and kind of get
mhm.
drinks and enjoy, and they're trying to bring that to people who maybe aren't playing too. So that's
Sure.
a lot of reasons for you why I think it's so big.
So many reasons. And honestly, like all of those reasons, it's probably all of those reasons,
Yeah.
right? Like all of them work together to make this like a worldwide phenomenon. And like
Phenomenon.
it's a feminine phenomenon, literally. But yeah, when I took tennis lessons last 2 winters ago, I don't remember. Like more than half the courts were for pickleball. And just every single park these days has more pickleball courts than tennis courts. And it's just taking over the world.
It's taking over, and a stat that I did look up because I wanted to be precise in this, but pickleball grew over 10 times the amount that it started with over COVID. So it was about
Oh my God.
3 to 4 million people. It's closer to 35, 40 million here
Oh
in
my
the US
God.
post COVID. And not, again, not trying to call out the tensions between tennis players and pickleball players, but there is kind of continuing um, tension to get the courts because tennis
Yeah.
players have been here a while and they hear the puck of all the pickleballers, and we're all chatting too. I think that contributes to another reason is it's very social. You can talk over playing as well if you want.
Yeah.
Um, and we're kind of encroaching on tennis place, but also we need courts. And it's such a
Yeah.
healthy thing for society, working out, socializing. So
Yeah.
sorry, tennis players, we'll work together, but just gotta not acknowledge that.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like you mentioned a good point. Like, it is so different from other racket sports because it is so much more social. But that was one of my questions for you. Like, other than
Mm.
it being social, like, do you think there's any other difference between pickleball and other racket sports?
Yeah, I do think there is a difference between pickleball and some other racket sports in the sense that it's pretty low stakes. Like I've seen
Yeah.
so many kind of like dating organizations or groups put together kind of how to meet people. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, you don't want to embarrass yourself on a first date, and because there is a
Mm-hmm.
short, small learning curve, it's easy to get good and have a competitive game,
Yeah.
and then go grab drinks after, or do a
Yeah.
picnic or birthday, and really incorporate that into your day without having to be too sweaty. But don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, if you play hard and competitive like my family does, you will be dripping at the end of it. But
Oh my God.
you get what you want out of it.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I love that. And I feel like you also answered this too, but just want to make sure, if you want to add anything to
Mm.
it. Why do you think pickleball is so addictive? Is it the easy learning curve? Like it's easy to get good at it? Is it that it's social? I don't know. Like, what do you
Yeah,
think?
I think pickleball is addicting for so many reasons. You just get those endorphins from playing and laughing. I
Yeah.
mean, there's so many moments where my mom and I will be playing two other men and just smack the ball so hard it goes in between their legs, and we get this huge point, and we're laughing so hard on the ground we're crying. And like I don't know
Uh,
many other sports that you can have that moment,
yeah.
compose yourself, get back into it, and then there's
Yeah.
another good point. So
Yeah.
it's socializing, it's even playing field. And also, I like to be good at things, so I put
Yes.
more time into it, and you do get a return. The more time
Yeah.
you practice and drill, the better you will get. And it's a really quick learning curve, so you can get good quickly.
Yeah.
And to that point, there's a lot of folks that will join tournaments and get
Mm.
humbled really quickly because you're not as good as you think you might be. But so that's been a fun journey for me too, is to enter a couple tournaments. I've played with my cousin. I've played across California, and who knows what the future will hold, but it's really fun to see yourself grow, and that part is addicting for sure.
I love that so much. And what a perfect segue into our third section. Section 3, from plastic paddle to pro sport. Are you ready for question 3?
I think so. I bet this one's the hardest one. I have a feeling, Lena.
I don't know. You might get it. I remember it again. It is multiple choice. So let's go ahead with question 3. Trivia question 3. What is the highest level of professional pickleball competition called? A. The Professional Pickleball Association Tour, PPA Tour. B. The Paddle Pro Tour, PP Tour. C. The Major League Tennis League, MLT. Or D. The World Racket Tour. And I can read
Mm,
them again if you want.
I think I got this one. I'm going to guess A, the PPA Tour.
She is on the nose. She is a pickleball pro, you guys.
I wish. It's mostly Lena because most people on their Instagram discover page, I mean, it's different for everyone. You might have food, fashion, puppies. Mine is pickleball videos. I watch training videos. I see the pro, like their insane rallies, and I'm obsessed with this incredible athlete. Her name is Anna Lee Waters. I think she's 17 now, but she has been dominant. She's played since she was 12 and been a pro maybe since she was 12 or 13.
Oh my God.
Don't quote me on that. But she's the number one women's player. She has countless triple crowns. And anyway, I love watching, and I know she's won quite a few PPA tours. So excited to watch her soar.
Well, that makes sense because the PPA Tour officially launched in 2018. So, it makes sense that she's so young. So the PPA Tour is the premier professional circuit for pickleball, drawing top talent from all over the world. The tour features prize money, sponsorships, intense competition, showing that pickleball has truly gone pro. And there is also the Major League Pickleball, MLP, which features team-based competition similar to how other pro leagues operate. So, Nikki, in your experience as someone who's done both rec level and some competitions, or I guess I don't know if it's considered pro level, but what do you think is the difference between rec and pro level play?
I'm in my head more in tournaments for sure. It's most athletes can probably agree with that once you get into that heated moment of this game matters instead of just practice. It's a mental battle. You have done all the training you need to do to get there. You're entered in the tournament, like eat well, you're doing all the right steps. But if you're not mentally in the right place, it shows up in a bigger way in the tournament versus rec play. And I think that's why, like, my parents have tried a tournament and they just prefer, like many others, the fun nature, the good competition of your local community in open play. Yeah. You're just relaxed. There's more camaraderie. There's more high-fiving, a lot of complimenting. Hey, from the other player, that was a great shot. Yeah. Once you get to tournaments, there's this, I get it. You have to, zone in. I'll still try to compliment, hey, that was a really great hit if they won the point or got the, serve back. But there's just this, people just turn on a different level mentally. And sometimes that means being a little bit less friendly. I get it. So, when you're entering a tournament, you have to be conscious of it's not going to be the as fun, laughy camaraderie environment. You're there to win. You're there to demonstrate, how far your training's got you. So I think the mental component is very different. But what's really cool about tournaments is there's tons of people around the community because they're usually played in community centers in Sacramento, Monterey, just all over the country. And people who live down the street will come and watch and cheer people on. Or there's people selling burgers and hot dogs. And, the people watching do keep up a lot of that camaraderie. And then I think what's also at stake, Lena, is your ranking. So every point you miss or game or match impacts what you call a DUPR score, dynamic universal pickleball rating. What's your DUPR score? It's kind of like Black Mirror. It's like it's a tennis ranking. So I think tennis, don't quote me on this, but there's beginner, intermediate, then you have, collegiate level on a scale of, 3+? Pickleball's similar. Okay. And I would say your beginner level player is a 2.5, 3.0. People who are really intermediate are 3.5, getting to 4.0. I'm aiming to be a more consistent 4.0 player, but you'll really see 4.0, 4.5 plus enter tournaments. Pros are about 6.0. So yeah, there's a constant uphill battle to get to that average of a 4 or 5. And I think that puts a lot of pressure on people to do well in tournaments, of course.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure, just like in any sport or hobby or activity, pressure just kind of kills the fun of it.
Yeah.
Unless, you're someone who's like super duper competitive. But like if, pickleball was originally made to just kind of be laid back, get the kids tired out. So it makes sense that it's just more fun at the rec level anyway.
For sure. And I think to have a healthy, balanced pickleball life, if it's not, your full-time job, is to do a little bit of both and kind of remember there is
Yeah.
fun in it and uplifting others. And there are times, absolutely, like whip that ball around and get intense. So it just, a different mindset going into each level of play. But I
Yeah.
love them both in different ways.
I love that. I love your answer to that question. And also, I love that jargon that you slipped in there. Duper. Had no idea
Duper.
about that. Could have been a trivia question, but
Add
there
me
you
on
go.
the Duper app.
Oh my God, there's a Duper app.
Yeah.
Jeez, this is deep.
Mm.
So you mentioned earlier you have a fave pro pickleball player. Can you remind me of her name again? Anne
Yes.
something?
Anna Lee Waters and her
Anna
mom,
Lee
I
Waters.
believe, is Lee Waters, and they used to be a duo, a female duo,
Okay.
competitive team together. Yeah.
Oh my God, cool. What a cool name, Anna Lee Waters. I love it. Have you ever watched her play or have you ever seen any other pro pickleball games?
Let's see. I did watch, we were talking about that celebrity pickleball bash, and I did get
Right.
to see, do you know Hunter Pence from the San Francisco Giants baseball?
Ugh, I'm embarrassed to say
No,
no.
that's okay. He's a local legend, and he was part of that tournament, and he was partnered up with some pro pickleball players. And
Okay.
I got to see T.O. Terrell Owens, play as well. Obviously, they're both not pro pickleball players. I've also seen Anna Lee. What was really cool is the SF communities really embraced pickleball so much. There's so many communities to join. Just go on the Facebook pages and join and see when there's classes, courses, open play, etc. And some, like a social club in San Francisco, invited Anna Lee to do a panel talk and invited her to play open play with us. So I completely panicked, but I got to play doubles with her at one of these events. And I don't think I breathed for the entire game that we played together.
That's so
But it was really
cool.
cool. It's so cool. I mean, it's cool to be a woman advancing in sports anyway. I think
Yeah.
there's not enough representation, let alone be inspired by a woman like half your age. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
age me, but like she is such an inspiration. And I told her that she signed a book and a pickleball that I might have in like a case
Oh my
now, maybe.
God.
But she's paving the way. And I'm curious to see what comes next for pickleball. We
Yeah.
don't have it as an official NCAA sport yet, but I hope soon, and people can start getting, sponsorships, or what do you call it?
Yeah,
Um,
sponsorships.
Sponsorships to college for it. It's not
Yeah.
yet in the Olympics. I would love to see that,
Yeah.
2028. Um, Still got a few more countries to go, but yeah, so
Yeah.
so so much future ahead for pickleball.
So cool. So cool. I love that so much. And wrapping up here, you mentioned you've done singles, you've done doubles. What do you think makes a good pickleball partner?
Ooh, good question. There's a level of trust that is necessary. You might pick a side that you feel more comfortable with and kind of switch to make sure you're always in that optimal position. And you got to trust that when you say the word or have your cue, that your partner is going to switch and cover that ground. Or, you operate as a rubber band. If they have a dink, they're trying to chase, to the right. You can't just stand there and watch. You got to move to the middle to cover their area, and your
Hmm.
partner is going to trust that you're going to be there to catch them. So it's
Hmm.
that trust, it's the communication. People might
Hmm.
say, why do you talk every point? Why not? I want to make sure we
Yeah.
know whose ball is who, and it's a lot of setting up what I like to call a sandwich play, Lena, where I might um, dink it to the other team. They come running for it. They reach for it. It's popped up. And then my partner, I want to trust that he knows what to do with it, which is smash it down and end the play, right?
Yeah.
If that's your choice. So, yeah, I think trust, communication. And what's also worked in the past for me is this like lightheartedness, because I can fall
Hmm.
into that trap of being so serious because you want to win. You don't want to disappoint your partner, and having a partner that's like, hey, look at this silly face, or like, tell a joke or be like, hey, it's really okay, I found is really important to remember that fun.
Yeah, I love that. So, do you think you prefer playing singles or doubles?
I'm going to say to make sure my body withstands for the long term doubles. Doubles is
Okay.
the way to go. And you can involve more people in it. If you ever play
Okay.
singles, good luck. You're going to have to get Ubered home after. It is just an intense, intense game. It's a great workout, but very different strategy. It's more like tennis.
Okay. Good to
Yeah.
know. Good to know.
Yeah.
And then, you like to play doubles. Do you have like a permanent team member that you go to, or have you ever had a permanent member, team member, or like when you did have that permanent partner, did you have a team name, or like what kinds
Mm.
of team names have you had in the past?
Yeah, what's interesting is it's so different for every team, every player. Sometimes it's only a season that you play with a certain partner. Sometimes it's only a game. So I haven't done too much women's doubles. I've done a lot of co-ed, so mixed men's and women's doubles, and I've had a couple partners. We I don't think we ever, maybe I won one tournament with a partner I played with once, but ideally you're going to be practicing with them a lot to build that trust. You can't just meet
Hmm.
someone on the first day and,
Hmm.
expect that you're going to understand the same language and level of style. I will say, Lena, something that's been really fun is that MLP style tournament, which is more involving your whole team in every point. It's more
Mm.
of like a traditional big team sport. And I've played a lot of with a lot of great teams, and we've won far more often that style. And I think it's because the
Nice.
adrenaline builds up, and you're on a team, and it's not just you. You're depending on everyone to play their part. So
Yeah.
definitely recommend if people are interested in tournament style, checking out MLP.
Cool. Good to know. Good to know.
Yes. And I don't have any fun names, Lena. I don't have
Really?
any fun team names, but
That surprises me.
I actually did have a fun name. Funny, I just remembered this now. There's a type of play called a lob where you lob the ball over someone's head and they have to run after it. So I did have an MLP team called the Lobsters. And after every point, we do this.
I love that so much. Okay, there we go. That's what I
We
was
got it.
looking for.
We
I was
got
like,
it.
Nikki is so creative. There has to be some sort of
We
fun
gotta be
team name that she's had.
100%. And not
Awesome.
just names, but there's, so many cute Etsy decorations. And if you ever want to host a pickleball party, even if you've never played before, I highly recommend just dipping your toe in. You're going to get so many awesome
Oh,
ads
I'm sure.
for all
I'm
the
sure.
dink and drink and dink and drive. And there's just so many
I love that so much. So many fun little, um,
puns,
what are they called?
puns, and
Puns, dad jokes.
oh, yeah.
And how fitting the game was created by three dads.
Oh, there we go. It all circles right back.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, let's wrap up the conversation here. Um, I want to give you a huge shout out. You are a trivia master. You got three
Oh,
out of three right. So, round of applause for Nikki.
thank you. I'm glad I know my stuff.
It seemed like you already knew everything I was talking about today, but was there anything new or something that you really enjoyed talking about or something that you learned during this chat?
Oh, I loved all of it. The you explaining more about how that pickle boat works was super
Mm,
interesting to me and crew. I love
yeah.
that. Um, and hearing more, no, just about it's. I love hearing from someone who hasn't played a lot. What their experience is like, seeing pickleball, observing it, and you knew so much. Like I'm so impressed with you. So you did your research. You're keeping
Thanks.
up, Lena. You know your stuff.
Thank you so much. I will be honest, I was a little bit thrown off when you said dink.
Oh, yes.
I was like, what?
No, it's not double income, no kids. It's a play.
I was like, wait, I'm a dink. Yeah. Okay, so dink is when you hit the ball.
Dink is a style of a shot. So when you're normally like in ping pong, just kind of like whipping it around, that's just like a normal shot. But when you intentionally tap it, so it just dribbles over the net, that's called a
Okay.
dink. And I
Oh
think
my
that's the
gosh.
key. That's the key to kind of the next level of pickleball play is
Okay.
actually being dinker.
You know what? I can't take that seriously. I really cannot. Um, in my tennis lesson, there was a move that I don't remember what it's called, but that was something that they taught us. And it was so hard
Mm,
for me because
yeah.
the racket is so big that I felt like my wrist couldn't support it. So I feel like
Yeah.
maybe I would like pickleball better, honestly.
Give it a
I've,
shot. I'm
yeah.
happy to play.
Yeah, I know
Good
you are.
lessons. Say, our classic joke in pickleball is just one more game, and then it's like 20 more games.
Oh my
So never
gosh.
trust someone when they say one more game because it means like 10 more.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Well, definitely we'll have to set something up. Nikki, I had so much fun with you on this. Like I said earlier, I'm so incredibly grateful that you are my first guest. It made so much sense to me. Just wanted to make sure, did you have fun in this recording?
Oh, yeah. And I learned a ton. So thank you for
Okay,
hosting. This was awesome.
good. Was this your first time being like on a podcast, like interview sort of situation?
Oh, yeah. First, and I hope not the last because this was so fun. It's awesome to learn something new
Yeah.
about your own sport, too. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, you are a natural. I feel like you did a great job.
Oh,
And
thank you.
yes, I would love you to be a guest again. You have so many cool different interests and hobbies, and we, of course, are both Swifties. So, is there anything you have in mind that you might want to be
Ooh.
quizzed on in the future?
You know, Taylor Swift would be a good one. I do have to do some research. It's you think you know a lot, and then someone humbles you on Taylor Nation or something like that. But that, or what it takes to write your own music. I'm open minded to it, Lena.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of music, is there anything coming up for you that you want to promote on the podcast for my
Oh,
13 listeners?
wow.
Like new music with your band or upcoming pickleball competitions? This is your
How
space. Go ahead and promote it.
thoughtful. Okay, well, this is not my company, but I have had a great experience working with a place called Bay Paddle, and they have 4 pickleball courts and a sport called padel. So definitely recommend checking them out. And then a little self promotion, Lena. You're so good at asking questions. I also have a band. We're called Dopamine Drive. We're based in San Francisco, and we have a show coming up at O'Reilly's on July 11th, formerly known as Milk Bar. We're going to debut some new songs, so hope you can make it. You can follow us on Instagram at dopamine drive underscore.
Okay, amazing. You said July 11th?
That's correct.
Okay, good. Perfect. Well, this episode is coming out June 12th.
Great.
So people will know about it and they have a month to buy a
Oh,
ticket or get their shit together,
amazing.
put it on their calendar, whatever
Love it.
they need to do.
Perfect. Amazing.
I
Oh,
love
well,
that.
thank you for all the questions. And it's just
Yeah.
been it's made a huge impact in my life to play this sport. So I'm just so happy to talk to you about it.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for being on it. I've had so much fun. And hopefully we'll see you again soon on the
Yes.
pod.
I'll get you on the courts first. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Sounds
Sounds good.
good. Thank you for listening to the show. This is Trivia Tangents, where we cover various trivia topics. We have new episodes released every Thursday, which I like to call Trivia Thursday. I'm Lena, and special thanks to our guest for this episode, Nikki, for sharing her awesome insights and trivia tangents about pickleball with us. Make sure to keep an eye out for next week's episode with my good friend Kyla, who shares my love for all things matcha. Thanks for listening!
And learning.
If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a 5-star rating or thumbs up, follow or subscribe, and share with a friend. For bonus content, you can find Trivia Tangents on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and of course, all podcast platforms under Trivia Tangents Podcast. Check out our website at triviatangentspodcast.com to purchase trivia starter packs based on these episodes. Perfect for hosting your very own trivia night.